Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into another edition of Feed the Bears, where I do my job as your host to feed you, the Bears, the best coverage we can give you. And so today we got the first day of pads underway, and it sounded like practice went pretty good. No real bad news to speak of, except for an injury that I'll be talking about in just a minute. But before we get to all that, let me see who's in the chat so far. And Jay Capone, the Don, number one in the chat today. Shout out to you, Jay. And Liberty's Outlook, close number second. He's right after you. Shout out to Liberty's Outlook. And Cornelius just busted up in this piece. Hey, man, welcome everybody in as people start to trickle into the show and into the chat. Shout out to Patty, the queen, just busted up in this piece. Trapper Keeper just busted up in here. Hey, welcome everybody. Before we get into football today, I like to speak about normal human stuff that we have to do from day to day. Today, still got this lawnmower situation to go take care of, but today I'm going to try to take it easy. We had a nice long show last night, and it was good too, man. So for anybody that's just looking for some good Bears content, some good detailed conversation about each and every one of the things that we need to be focused on, last night was a really good show. We had D-Nice on last night. It was a good one. And so if you want to get some good content in, spin back. Make sure you spin back and watch that show from last night. If you did not, I'm telling you, it's a good one. But yeah. About to throw a rack of ribs on the grill and some bratwurst, beer brats. I love them. Absolutely love them. Got to throw them out there, man. So get ready to do that. So in about 15, 20 minutes from now, 30 minutes, however long, go fire that thing up and get ready to eat something tonight. It's a decent day outside, fairly comfortable. It's still muggy. It's just been like that forever. It seems like over a month now. It's just like the temperatures and the humidity is just choking people out. Man, but I'm gonna go out there and face the elements and do what I got to do because I want some ribs and I want some damn brats. So that going on. And so let me get to a couple of comments. Let me see what people are talking about. Kenny Adams up in here representing Memphis. Shout out to you for that, bro. Let me see. You say Trapper Keep says kids is looking better day by day. I don't know what that means, but hey, that's my boy right there. Let me see. Let me see what else is in here. Shout out to everybody. Let me see if there's anybody new in there. Not so far. So let's just start right off. So today, typically what I normally do is when I'm getting ready to go do one of these shows, one of these daily shows, what I lean on is Twitter, and I lean on reporters that I follow, friends of the program. And today, one of my very favorite reporters on the beat is Alex Shapiro. I grabbed his notes today, and I'm gonna kind of embellish on stuff that he says. So shout out to Alex Shapiro. You the winner. I'm grabbing your notes today, and that's what we're gonna be talking about. It's his notes. So I'm gonna speak to Alex Shapiro soon too. See if we can get him on here to do a notes dump on the show, man. We'll try to get that done hopefully soon. He's on a new network, and he isn't as available as he usually was when he was with NBC. So I'm going to talk to him and see what he can do. Moving forward, so Luther Burden, good news, was back at practice today. He only was able to do individual drills, but he was in pads. He's just doing a bunch of running around, doing routes on air, different stuff like that. He could not. It's just the NFL ramp-up period. That's all it is. So, you'll hear stories about him being out there, but he couldn't really participate in the 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. He's just over there on the side, kind of doing his own thing probably with his position coaches and just doing it that way. But it's good to hear. It was really good to hear that he's actually out there in practice because, as we know, man, it's a lot of people that's been privately DMing me. People comment after a show. They've been getting a little concerned about that. I'm been getting a little concerned about it. Everybody that was on the show last night, every co-host on the show last night was particularly concerned about, hey, man, these other dudes are getting leaps and bounds ahead of him in this scheme. Like, how's he going to get caught up? And so today was really, really good news. And so he gets to really get his start, getting feet to the grass and kind of getting acclimated in what they're going to ask him to do. And that's just going to help him kind of even this thing out and give him an opportunity to get on this field early in this season. And so, again, just pleased to know he's out there in the early ramp up phase. And hopefully, that won't take as long as, a week or two. Hopefully within a week, he'll be out there doing regular stuff with the rest of the team. So that was good news to hear. Let me jump up in here and see what people are saying in the chat. Shout out to Junior, who just busted up in here. Let me see. Cornelius Squall says, man, I hope Luther changes his numbers because 87 makes him look slow. You know what, man? That's funny you said that, Cornelius, because I was wondering, is it that the Bears just gave him a number, or did he choose that? I don't know. As a rookie, at the very beginning of camp, you get an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I want number 3. Because that's what I was expecting him to wear. Because I can't think of another number 3 on the roster. Can you? I don't know there's another number 3, but I get it. What you're saying is that 87 looks a little bit blocky and it makes him look a little, I kind of see that, see what you're saying. I don't know what I think about 87 on Luther Burden. I got a funny feeling that's not going to last. I got a feeling after training camp, he'll grab some other number, whether it's 3 or something like that. Who knows, man? But I don't know. You know what? And I also don't know what kind of numbers Bears make available to the players as far as the single digits go. I don't know. Let me see. I hope he changes it too. And shout out to Levante Rogers, man. Let me give you a particular little bit of love here, man, because we were on the show the other day and I spoke about Harrison Graham. We were doing one of these Feed the Bears episodes. And it just dawned on me that I had reached out to him to come and be a guest on the show, and he was willing to do it. He was just on vacation at that particular time when I was reaching out to him, and stuff was just happening with the network and my personal life, and I just didn't get back to him and follow up. And so Levante heard me on the show the other day speaking about it, and with his own will and merit, went and spoke to Harrison Graham himself, which I really, really appreciate that, man. I really do. You didn't have to do that, but I'm glad that somebody appreciates us enough to go out there on his own will and merit to, reach out and do some correspondence with people. Man, I really appreciated that, Levante. I just want you to know that. That was nice, bro. I really appreciate that. And I will follow up, do what you can do, and I'll follow up with wherever you leave it, I'll follow up with it. So, man, shout out to Levante Rogers for that. That was really, really nice of him, man. Number 13, I don't know who has that. Tyler used to wear that, but I believe there's a guy in the camp that is wearing 13. Like, I think it's a guy that we got from that was with Ben Johnson in Detroit, a return. I forget his name. I think his name is Maurice Alexander or something. I think that might be it. Oh, Andre Bryan says number 3 is retired on the Bears. Who retired number 3? I don't know. Let me see. 3. Okay, the numbers, Andre is saying the numbers that are unavailable to the Bears are 3, 5, 7, 28, 34, 40, 41, 42, 51, 56, 61, 66, 77, and 89. Man, that's entirely too damn many numbers to be retired. Entirely too damn many. Yeah, shout out the kids who just busted up. And yes, that was real cool of him, man. I got to reach out to Levante just for doing that on a private note to see if Levante, if you want to be a part of what we do over here and get a shot at getting out here and doing podcasts, if you're willing, man, we'll open the door for you in a flat second, man. Just reach out to me and let me know, give me a thumbs up, anything, any kind of cue to let me know that you might want to, and you might want to get out here and do some podcasts and actually, if you want to help out with some programming over here, man, we'll have you in a heartbeat, man. Because I really do appreciate that. It was nice, man. Yeah, Alexander's wearing number 13. And shout out to Queen P. Do what she says. The Queen says, hit the like button, you shall do it. Hail to the Queen. Let me see. No, he says, no, I had to do it. No, man. We want to grow the channel anyway. You're absolutely right, man. That's just love, man. I really do appreciate that. I just want you to know that, man. Shout out to Calvin C. Jr. again. Let me see. He says that's why Devin and Brian Urlacher's numbers won't be retired because the Bears have too many retired now. Yeah, I think the best thing the Bears could do to address that situation is shout out to Jason from the UK, man, UK Bears. Shout out to you, Jason, for being in here. I think the best thing that they can do, in my opinion, is to, if you're going to retire a number, retire it with a time limit. Just so that you got so many numbers, have this set of numbers be retired for the next 3 years, 4 years. Do something special for those players during those years, 2, 3 years, I don't know, and then retire another set of numbers. Do it like that so that numbers are available to guys. That's the funny thing about football and retiring. It's like you only get so many damn numbers out of 0 to 100. You can't keep those numbers out of range for these new players forever, man. They got to do something about that, man. We don't have enough numbers on the team. Shout out to Jason again. All right, let me look at some more notes here. So Zay Frazier, Doug Kramer, Shamar Turner, all are out. I think Zay Frazier's, whatever it is, it's probably something personal that nobody really needs to know because they're giving him, he's got an excused absence. He's been out for an entire week and continuing this week. So whatever it is, it must be fairly serious, something going on in his personal life. Who knows? But whatever it is, there's a reason why that guy's not been in practice. Doug Kramer got hurt in the last practice and he didn't return for this one. Shamar Turner rolled his ankle in the very first day of training camp. And so he's still out probably rehabbing his joint. And also, man, and I'm hoping that we get some good news behind this, but Tano Passano, guy we just picked up, played in New Orleans with Dennis Allen, man. Most recently with, he was with New Orleans the most recent, but he went out with a hand wrist injury. Just because he rolled out off on a cart doesn't mean anything. He's just a long way from the field to the facility, so he got hopped on a cart and rolled off. But got to be monitoring that right now because hopefully it's not a fracture or anything like that. Because if it is, then he's going to be out several weeks, maybe a month or so, and we probably have to do something, as far as the free agent market goes still, or more than likely free agent. I don't think they'll do any kind of trading, even if it is a fracture. That fracture is only going to keep him out maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and that goes into the season. He might miss a couple games here. You know what I mean? But he's got plenty of time. If it's going to happen, I'm glad it happened now. As opposed to later on in camp, man. This is not the worst thing in the world, and hopefully it's not major. And so I'll be looking forward to that kind of news coming out. Whoever breaks the news on it, but paying close attention to how that injury develops with Tano Passano. Let me see here. Junior says, I think the new stadium should have a ring of honor or a section of the stadium that should have a honorary instead of retiring numbers. I agree with that, man. I agree with that. Something's got to give there because we'll have other star players, and sometimes with the Bears they come in bundles. From that Lovey era, it feels like we had 5 to 7 guys that probably should be have retired numbers or more. But can you really retire all those numbers and it make any kind of sense? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yes, Kenny Adams says, Armando, excellent thinking. I love the way he's thinking as far as that goes. I love it. All right, let me see here. Also, the left tackles are continuing to rotate, but should be pointed out here, and in all fairness, Braxton Jones is still in a ramp-up period, but he's practicing and he's getting drill work and he's doing everything that he needs to do. So this is important because it's the first day of pads. And I saw a video of Ben Johnson really, really studying that offensive line and watching how they execute together in drill situations, 7-on-7s. I've seen a few videos of him really paying focus to that offensive line. So you had today running with the ones, you had ozzy trapilo. And it sounded like from reports, they look pretty stout. I'm talking about as a unit. I can't say that, individually, Ozzy was any better than anybody else. What I heard, this is from Alex Shapiro, the offensive line looked pretty stout against the ones on the defense. So that's important. So it was Ozzy taking the ones, Braxton taking the 2 reps, and Kier Namagaji taking the 3. And so what I expect to happen tomorrow It's probably the same thing but flipped around. Probably be Ozzy, probably be Karen taking the first reps tomorrow. Ozzy or Braxton taking 2, and then Ozzy taking the 3 reps. Unless something happened in practice today with the pads on that they feel good about Ozzy Trapilo and they want to give him another run at the ones. Let's see if he can, duplicate what he did in practice today with the ones again today with the pads on. That would be the only reason I could see them changing that around. Otherwise, they go back to the regular rotation of the guys, man. So it sounds like it's important to note that the first day of padded practices, when you can really start evaluating the offensive line, that they chose Ozzy to take the number 1 team reps. That's important to note because, really, we talked about that at length last night. Me, myself, kids, and D Nice, man, and I think we all made good points, but I don't know which one of us said it, but the point of if you really, if the idea in the first place is to not sign Braxton Jones, who you give these reps to during this season, during this camp is going to be important. Now, it could be that, Braxton Jones outshines them all. But then if he ends up being the starter, where does that leave these other 2 guys? I don't think it's in a bad place. I think it's going to be it's a situation where I feel like the team is getting a little rich as far as the offensive line goes. Even if they did, I don't know that that they will sign Braxton Jones. I can't say if they will or they won't, but if he ends up performing and winning that starting job and then going out in there and having a better than average season, there could be a case made that they probably should sign Braxton Jones. But who knows what they do there? But we will monitor that. We will monitor that. Let me take a look at the chat. See what's saying. Cornelius Squall says, he's talking to AC Adam, my guy. My fault. All right. That's a couple notes out of the way there. To get to the second one, we talked about Tano, keeping an eye on that. Braxton Jones participates in team drills. These are all Alex Shapiro's notes. And yeah, hold on. Shapiro, Amagaji. And so today, all right, here's another note that should be spoken to. They focused on the run game today. And so they put a high emphasis on what I think he's trying to find out in the first day in pads is what we talked about last night. They want to figure out who does what well and how do they perform as a collective, doing the stretch stuff, doing the zone stuff versus doing the gap or the power stuff. And so I think that's what they were trying to figure out today running. Probably, I didn't see a reporter give me any nuanced details as to what style of offensive line play that was going on. You could be talking about wide zone or you could be talking about gap and power concepts. I didn't see a reporter give any detail about what they were doing. I would imagine on the first day in pass, they're going to probably throw in a lot of wide zone stuff. That's the stuff that Ben Johnson wants to do. And so Ben Johnson, I can tell you from the All-22, their game plan was a mixture of wide zone and some gap and some power concepts. I would say if you had to give a percentage or a ratio between the two, I would say it probably was 75% more wide zone than it was gap or power. But he did trickle it in there and use some of those concepts. And so naturally, you would imagine Ben Johnson would be probably running the zone stuff or the wide zone stuff first, just to see, like in particular, how well Ozzy Trapilo moves with the group, because you got a bunch of good movers along that front. And you want to see what Ozzy Trapilo, can he reach block as fast as Braxton Jones? I doubt it. But when the run's coming to his side, how fast does he get out there to the second level and seal those blocks off? And so that's probably what he's looking for. How fast does he move and get to an aiming point, seal a guy, all that kind of stuff, because the sequence needs to be pretty quick. When he gets off the ball, you got to get to your target point, get to that aiming point, seal them off, because the running back is coming right off your behind. And so in those kind of plays, that's probably some of the stuff that Ben Johnson's looking for. And if they did use some of the gap and some of the power concepts is, when it's your turn to maybe pull to the other side to do stuff like that, how fast are you getting across that line of scrimmage and getting to your aiming point? And so everything I could tell you a lot of stuff about what I liked about Ozzy Trapilo, but one thing I can't tell you is how good of a mover that he was coming from left side to the right side, because or right side to the left side, whatever it is, because you didn't see a whole lot of that at Boston College. But, you know, in this offense, he's probably going to have to move around a little bit, go out there and do some reach blocking. And so that's probably what Ben Johnson is looking for with Ozzy in there. He knows those other guys can do it, but he's looking to see if Ozzy can acclimate to that style. I have no reason to believe that he can't. Everything in me tells me he can do everything Ben Johnson will need him to do. And so I'm just looking for some of that video to come out to see. I'll break down that once I get my hands on some of that video and let you know how it kind of looks. So be looking for that coming up soon. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Let me see. Ron C says, also, it could be we show Braxton Jones, Braxton can still play. We could trade him or use him for depth. That's another way to look at it. You put him out there, give him some, you know, the thing with Braxton Jones is he's got so much tape already out there. I think people know what Braxton Jones brings to the table, but I think what you mean is, you know, post-surgery, what does Braxton Jones look like? Is there any reason for a team to be apprehensive about reaching out to the Bears for him? For that reason, I think you are correct, Ron. You know, putting him out there and giving him some reps on the field, whether it's in the joint practices or whether it's in preseason, I think it's worth it to do that big time. So I appreciate that statement, Ron. Yes, sir. Dalman is one of the best wide zone centers in the game. One of the best. And again, man, I think, to be honest with you, when you start talking about the different concepts, Cornelius, when you start talking about wide zone and gap, like for DeAndre Swift, so he's been in the league for a while. And so I don't know how many people checked out his film when he was at Georgia. But when he was at Georgia, I did watch his film. I watched a lot of that stuff. And why DeAndre Swift was so damn effective outside of his just pure raw speed is the gap concepts that they ran. Pulling guards, pinning and pulling, and, you know, trapping, those kinds of things, surefire ways to get your running game off and going. To me, I think it's a superior concept than wide zone. I think everybody in the league is running wide zone, and defenses are really, really learning how to defend that. I think gap and power is a concept that you can use, and it's kind of foolproof so long as you have the guys that block it up and are not afraid of contact. Because when you have a guard pulling from one side to the other, or the tight end pulling from one side to the other, and he's got to go smack somebody in the mouth just to open and seal up that running lane for the running back, everybody's not don't have the same energy, I would say. And so as a Cole Kmet, he has to pull from one side to the other. Is he going to frog up at the last second when it comes to smacking that guy in the mouth, or is he going to plow right through his face mask? And so those are the things that Ben Johnson is going to be eager to find out. Is if when he sends Cole across that line of scrimmage, or he sends Colston across the line of scrimmage, will they smack somebody in the mouth to open up that running game? And so him trying to figure out what concept to really, really put his foot into, whether it be zone or gap, that's important with these offensive linemen and these tight ends. They have to block their ass off. And so we'll see, man. We'll see how that plays out. Let me just look at a couple other comments. Let me see. Yes. Y'all getting on Don. I think I told Don, man, they missed their window, man. They had a couple years to get one. 2 or 3 years, as a matter of fact. Okay, Levante says the wide zone scheme is a football play that emphasizes horizontal movement, aiming points to create lanes for the running back. Absolutely true. That's almost like the Webster's Dictionary version of how you describe what a wide zone concept is. The horizontal movement slanting across the field, being in synchronicity. You know, is that even the right word? I don't know. But it's just being synced up, and the timing and the rhythm of that offensive line. They need to come off at the same time and kind of be moving at the same time. It takes a lot to function like the Detroit Lions did in that wide zone concept. It takes a lot of time on the grass, takes a lot of reps. And to get to where Levante is talking about, you just definitely, to move and sync like that, you need time on the grass. And so to me, the quicker they get to a settlement with this left tackle situation, the better that offensive line is going to be. I would hate, and I know Ben Johnson said that, you know, it might be in the first week of practice. It might be all the way 6 weeks into the end of camp before we find out who the left tackle is. I'm praying to God it doesn't take that long, because the functionality of this offensive line is going to require these guys to play a certain amount of reps together. or it might not look so good at the very beginning. So that's why I feel a sense of urgency, but I'm on the outside looking in. They're in the building working with these guys individually. I feel a sense of I think it's important that they get to the bottom of that sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact. Let me see some of these comments. All right, let me get to some more notes here before we get out of here. Let me see. We just spoke on the Bears focus on the run game today, which is smart. It's first day of pass. That's what they should be doing, focusing on the run game. I'll tell you this, as the week progresses, as we go through the rest of the week, watch and hear for how the practices will start to intensify as we get later on in the week. They'll probably take it easy for the first couple of days, flipping around and work on more of the passing attack and situational stuff while they're with the pads on. And as the week progresses, somewhere around Thursday, you can expect that those practices are going to intensify. Probably going to hear about more struggles and fights, but they're going to really ramp up the pressure on the quarterback. They're going to put a little bit more on Caleb's plate to see how he's going to function. And they'll get some of those second guys behind Caleb some opportunity too. But watch and see what I tell you, that the practices are going to definitely intensify come late week. A practice week, you always want to have it crescendo and be a little bit more aggressive towards the end. Then you give them a day or so off, come back and do it all over again. So watch for the end of the week, everything to get a little bit more aggressive. DJ Moore, also a note from Alex Shapiro. DJ Moore also got some look at running back today. Did y'all hear about that? So DJ Moore lined up at running back, and that's probably part of some of the bells and whistles packages that Ben Johnson is gonna, some specialty players that he wants to run. That's it's not funny, but it's kind of cute because I've always seen DJ Moore. He's got a physical makeup of a running back. You know what I'm saying? So it makes nothing but sense, but to give this guy the ball in space and create some stuff. How they use DJ out of the backfield? Well, I run a whole bunch of stuff up the A and B gap just to have DJ get smacked in the mouth. No, I wouldn't do that. It's got to be something that they can really lean into, something they can use as a change of pace, something that can misdirect the defense and kind of get them off balance. Maybe he motions out from the slot and comes into the backfield and they run the ball with him, stuff like that. And so, I thought that was cool to hear about. And so I believe that's definitely in Ben Johnson's trinkets bag, man. You know what I mean? I love to hear DJ Moore getting the ball whenever you can give him the ball, because to me, he's probably the best football player on the team as far as the offense goes. And so you got to get that guy the ball. Let me see. Shout out to Jan. I haven't seen Jan in a while, man. You'll get more and more these kind of shows, man. We'll be live during the day. I'll be live during the day more often now because we got training camp and the season is going on. So you'll be able to catch shows like this pretty much every day, every single day, Jan. So be looking out between 1 and 3, depending on how practice is going, how they schedule practices. Is typically when I come out here and do a live show and give, just break down the notes that I'm hearing about. So shout out to Jan. I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you, my guy. Oh my God. I don't know exactly what we're dealing with here, but let me see some more notes. Colston sounds like he looked nice in 7-on-7. Really, really nice in 7-on-7. There's a lot of people talking about that. I've seen a couple of videos. He looked good, but that's not 11-on-11 drills. That's not out there in contact yet. This stuff is just still drill situations. It's not I think he's going to be a stud. I believe he was a stud when we got him. I thought he's the best receiving tight end in the draft, hands down. I spoke to that multiple times. Getting him, I think they're probably a little trepid about putting him out there and having him play full physical stuff yet. I don't know if he's there yet. That's what it sounds like to me, but anything they could be doing with him that's not physical, bumping and grinding contact, I think they will be doing. But, man, sounds like he looks good, man, as a receiver out there so far. John says, well, that's about 8 p.m. here, but good to know. Hey, man, the time difference, that trips me out. The complete turnaround, man. That's so for the sake of Jan, I'm going to try to stay as close to 1 o'clock as I can for your sake, for people like you, Jan, that are overseas and UK, Jason, UK Bears, for people like that, I want to get out here and do more daytime content so you guys can get some live stuff, because I know you want to participate in the chats and stuff like that. So I feel like I need to get out here and do more of this stuff during the day. So I'm gonna do the best I can, man. So you can count on this kind of stuff to happen all season long, y'all. So be looking for it. Let me see. They say, Cornelius says, that's good. It says, getting harder and harder for an old man like me to stay up late. Hey, dog, we got you, man. We got you. We're going to try to, the 8 p.m., what happens with those shows just ended up being what they are. Nomad at night, especially, and then Feed the Bears. It's just like I wish I can do stuff a little bit earlier, but it's not just me doing it. And so these are more comfortable times for the guys. You know what I mean? So I can do a show anywhere between 1, 6, 5, 4. I can do any of those shows, but those guys got stuff they got going on, and they have to. Trips is like 380 different personalities on his channel, and so he's got to do a lot of recording. So he ain't always available during certain parts of the day. So, and Kez is doing a lot of daytime stuff too with his gig and his job. So that's that, man. That's that. Let me see. Yeah, I did a show. I just did a show Saturday. As a matter of fact, Ron, see, you talking about like an evening show or like a whole show with the guys? We'll see, man. We got a couple guys that maybe joining us soon. Maybe we can get some of that in. I don't know. But I'll be more than willing to do it. We'll just see who's available when and who wants to do what, man. So we'll see. We will see. Shout out to Cornelius Squalls, who says he will be 71 at a young age of 71 Friday, man. Happy birthday to you, man. Everybody, please wish Cornelius an early happy birthday, man. That is so nice to hear, man. That's blessed. That's a blessing right there, man, to be here that long. And I wouldn't look at it, if I were you as an old man, I would look at it as a learned man. How about that? Because to me, I don't think 71 is old to me. I think we look at age in the wrong way. I think people, if it wasn't for outside influence talking about the food that we eat, the environment, I think people should expect to live well into their hundreds. You know what I mean? But the reality is a lot of people, based on how they live their lives, it's different for everybody, man. But I think people could live quite longer than they expect to live if they really, really take care of themselves. But shout out to you, Cornelius, man. Happy birthday to you in advance, bro. In advance. Junior said he just turned 58 Friday. Happy belated birthday, Junior. Happy 58th, man. Sean didn't even say nothing to me, man. I'm going to kick Sean butt when I see him. Yes, sir. It is okay to live as long as you can. All right, let me see what other notes I got in here. Spoke about Coast and Loveland. O-line looking good, first and pass. Oh, also, all of this, I got a lot of feedback about the Grady Jarrett acquisition. Calling the man old, calling him over the hill, calling him kind of used up. And that's not what I'm hearing coming out of practice with pads on. Grady Jarrett sounds, this is per Alex Shapiro, as disruptive as ever, as he's been ever. And so that's what I thought. I thought Grady Jarrett was going to come in here and have something to prove, and I believe he does. And him being as disruptive as ever was welcome news to hear. And he's not the only reporter. I heard Zach Pearson say the same thing. I believe Courtney Cronin mentioned that. And so right about now, Grady Jarrett is standing out as being disruptive. That's exactly what his role is. And he's going to be good for the Chicago Bears. I'm willing to guarantee you that. Grady Jarrett is going to be a stud in the Bears uniform. Tell him Nomad said it. Hey, I don't believe in all that. Once you get 30 years old and over, that you just over the hill. I don't buy that. Sometimes, depending on what kind of player you are, most of those guys start getting better during that age. That's when they really, really start getting it. Late 20s, early 30s. That's when they really, really turn the corner. In my opinion, that's what I've seen over the years. And so all that stuff about, Trips is our resident ageist. He just doesn't believe it, but I see a lot of value in Grady Jarrett. And I think there's a reason why they gave him a 3-year contract. He's not made like normal football players. He's built to something different. He's built to some of that stuff in Wakanda or something. I'm telling you, Grady Jarrett's a different guy, and it sounds like he's showing improvement in pads already. That's just what I heard. Let me see. It's like Don says Grady is also 70. Touche, motherfucker. All right, last little note I got. Also, a note from Alex Shapiro. Again, shout out to Alex Shapiro. It's continuing. I mentioned this last night on the show. Nahshon Wright is continuing to get all of Jalen Johnson's first team reps. What's different is Tyreek Stevenson is now swapping out reps, first team reps with Terrell Smith. That has continued. That started happening late in the week, last week, and now it's continued on into this week. And so we got to keep monitoring that. I'm still going to call this race Tyreek Stevenson. I'm calling it for Tyreek Stevenson, but giving Terrell Smith a lot of reps with the ones, their mindset, I guess, is they want to see. I've said this often on the show, and I've been saying it since we got Terrell Smith, that he was brought here for zone cornerback purposes of Matt Eberflus. And he was a zone cornerback when he was in college. That isn't to say that Terrell Smith isn't capable of matching up man to man against any receiver, any tight end, any running back. I do believe he's physically able to do any of that. He just hasn't had the reps in his college career and in his so far in his professional career. I think right now he's getting probably the most one-on-one reps he's ever seen as a football player, probably since high school or whenever. But definitely he wasn't that type of corner when he was at Minnesota. And so I think what he's doing, everything he's doing right now is on a learning curve for himself personally, and the coaches are probably grading what he's doing on a learning curve based on what I just said. He's getting acclimated to playing one-on-one matchup, man-to-man coverage. And so that's not the easiest thing to do when you used to playing a space, and now all of a sudden they're telling you to get up close to the receiver, challenge them, and be physical at the line of scrimmage. So that's also a learning curve for him. And so be looking forward to seeing how that develops, man. That might shout out to Smitty Q, who just busted up in here, and Minister Charles as well. I tried to do that last night. I got to go back in there, Minister Charles. Mr. Charles is talking about the price change for membership. I'm trying to get it down to 99 or $1.99 or something like that. But for whatever reason, I probably need to go and do a YouTube, training video or something, figure out how to change it, because I couldn't figure out how to change it. So I got to go. I'll get it corrected. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. But I got to probably do some kind of tutorial to figure it out, because I couldn't actually do it manually, but we'll see. But that's what we have, man. That last statement of watching that cornerback battle over there on the other side between Terrell and Tyreek is going to be interesting. I hope some video comes out so I can kind of give a little breakdown on what I saw, between the two of them. I'll be looking for some stuff. And if I find it, I'll show you guys on the next show. But be paying close attention to that. And also be paying close attention to who's taking, what reps at safety. I still haven't gotten any kind of finite details about any of that as of yet, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll find out some stuff in the next few days. But that's what we have for the day. I want to tell everybody that came and enjoyed the show, everybody that chatted. Shout out to everybody, Levante, you in particular, for hooking us up on Twitter with Harrison Graham, and everybody. Cornelius, happy pre-birthday, and happy belated birthday to Junior out there, man. And shout out to you guys one more time. But I got to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, I am